Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Life today. Pastor Kevin went a little long this morning. I guess first service went longer. He was feeling the Spirit. I never want to complain when the pastor breaks down the word and cuts our segment down significantly, but that's all right. But Levi's back in the chair. Since you were last here, you've transitioned. You were a teacher at North Dallas Academy. Now you're at the conference office.
Okay, I don't know if you need to say it like that. So, I am working at the conference office. I'm not in the classroom for the first time in the last 15 years.
But I hear, in talking to Keisha, that you're doing some great work.
Are you checking up on me?
I absolutely am.
All right.
He wasn't even when I was down at the office the other week. He was out and about doing educational ministry. So good to have you back.
Thanks,
he's going to be doing our interview today. We just, again, appreciate you watching. Pastor Kevin did a great job talking about the listening God, and he talked about how we are saved from not having to keep the law.
Yeah.
The law is important. It shows us our need of Jesus, but Jesus saves us. And so that's
a good message to go long on. You know what? I think people need to hear that.
For someone who grew up Adventist, sometimes that didn't come through as well as it needed to. So we look forward to this continuing series. So we got a couple of events I want to make you aware of. We've got Greeter University. You don't have to be a formal greeter if you're interested in just exploring the gift of hospitality, or if you have the gift of hospitality. It's next Sabbath. We feed you. Mindy Colvin, our events coordinator, said we're having haystacks, so that's always good.
There you go.
Always
Can't mess that up.
That's right. And we haven't had haystacks in a while here, so
that's right.
We'll do
not in a communal sense. Hey,
and that's right, exactly.
Right, here we go.
Your Fritos and my Fritos were commingled. Man,
so great.
I don't know. So we've got that. So that will feed you, and then we'll do Greeter University. Ernie Pyle, who has extensive experience in ministry, but also in sales in the corporate world, we'll be talking about that. And so if you're interested, please go to Arlington Life Online and register, so we make sure that we have enough Fritos and haystack paraphernalia for you to take care of. And then the next day from 1 to 4, we have our second annual car show. You don't have to have a super duper classic car. If you have a car, come on out.
I feel like we do have quite a few of the really
we
cool
do.
old
We
school
really
cars.
do. I'm excited to see when we did it in 2019. We had a number of people who I didn't even know had classic cars. And so if you have a car, go to Arlington Life Online and register. Again, it doesn't have to be a super duper unique car. It doesn't have to be a DeLorean, though that'd be kind of cool.
That would be
if
nice.
Somebody had a DeLorean.
That would be sweet.
But we just want to have a fun day. All the proceeds are going to go to Revive for the registration fee. The class of 2023 from Burton Academy, which is the junior class, will be selling food. The Pathfinders will be selling food. We'll have some kids' games out there. So it's going to be a fun day. We're praying the weather holds out.
Right.
And we'll just, if you like cars or just want to do something on a Sunday afternoon, since the Cowboys are playing on Thursday.
That's true. That's true.
There
is no rain in the forecast.
That's good. It's
for the next 2 weeks. So we should be fine.
So that's good. So we got the car show again. If you want information on that, go to Arlington Life Online. Arlington Life Online, our newsletter that comes out on Thursday, is our one-stop shop.
Oh my goodness!
And you never know what you're going to find in Arlington Life Online.
That's true.
So make sure that you either read it, but also that you, if you're not getting it, go to arlingtonadventist.com. Scroll down to our online resources, subscribe. And you can get it then every Thursday, or our latest issue is there for you to peruse. But yes, it is our one-stop shop and then some. So Revive has got a lot going on. Levi, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, they do have a lot going on. We've had a lot of really positive feedback in the last few months as Revive is kicking back into kind of full gear. Some of the feedback is kind of interesting, so I'll go ahead and use some of the quotes we've had here. And with respect to individuals talking specifically about the food pantry, I just love coming to this church, which is awesome. Again, that's community people, that's community voices talking about that. In referencing the vision therapy, I haven't seen clearly in the last 4 years. Talk about Restore, which is the clothing, the newer clothing element. I came with my arms empty, and now they are full. And that's full of their clothes, full of children's clothes, full of spouses' clothes. Yeah. That's a wonderful ministry. Your church has been a light in my darkness, and that's speaking. And that's back to the food thing, but that's also the emotional needs that Revive. And if you haven't had the chance to come out and volunteer, That is one of the things that's kind of nice about it, is you do get the opportunity to kind of speak to these people, look them in the eye, talk to them, help them kind of regain a little bit of that dignity that maybe they feel like they've lost. Right. We don't feel that they've lost their dignity, but maybe they do. And so just talking to them as you're walking kind of along with them as they're filling up their car, and that might be the first time they've talked to someone in a bit. Yeah. There's been a lot of isolation, and that's part of what they're experiencing, you know, and so having that ability. And the last one is, I'm so glad your church exists. One of the questions we ask often is, if your church's doors closed, would anyone notice? Exactly. And the answer is absolutely yes. People would notice if Arlington is closed.
We have hundreds and hundreds of families in the community that are blessed by Revive. Yeah. And so that is good to hear that we are making that difference. Sometimes in the church world, you get so focused on what's going on in your own little bubble. Right. As long as my pew's not taken on Sabbath morning, as long as, I get out of here by lunchtime. Yeah. But to know that we are literally being the hands and feet of Jesus. So
we have a few things that we're kind of in need of moving forward. Canned tomato soup, boxes of crackers, diapers, any sizes, but specifically 4 to 6. And then you know that the pastor's feeling comfortable when she includes this next item, and included a photo or a graphic in our newsletter. Female personal hygiene products are also in need.
Man. I probably would have gotten super red.
Am I getting red? I don't know. Yeah, filter me out. But that's good, because that means people are actually asking. They're feeling comfortable coming to us and saying, hey, by the way, this is something that we're kind of in need of. And so people are allowing themselves to be vulnerable, and they're coming to us and saying, hey, is this something that we have? And the answer, hopefully, moving forward, is absolutely we have that available.
Well, I know our community has always stepped up. We've got food pantry this week. Tuesday is load in. We always need volunteers for load in. Wednesday is food pantry. So if you have that time, if you're able to volunteer during the day, come on by. I know Tuesday and Wednesday, it's just a lot of work.
If you can. Tuesday, I think, is a little bit more in need right now because there's a lot of loadout right now that's going on and not a lot of people. So, if you've got a sturdy back, or even if you don't,
they'll put you to work.
They will put you to work.
It's a good time. Yeah. One of the other things that we've noticed through the pandemic is financial need. A lot of people lost their jobs, were furloughed, or lost their jobs completely. And so one of our first guests back in 2020, which seems like an eternity ago,
a long time ago,
was Maria Cook. Maria Cook is a passionate woman who loves to talk about how to make a budget, how to help your finances, how to get debt-free. You cannot spend 30 seconds with Maria without getting excited about Financial Peace University and about becoming debt-free. And so she's going to be sitting in this chair in a couple minutes, but we're going to share a video from Dave Ramsey, who does Financial Peace University, one of his associates, Chris Hogan, talking about debt being a thief. And then you're going to sit down and have a chat with Maria.
Awesome.
Have you ever done something stupid with money? I know I have. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I wanted people to think I was successful. I got caught up in trying to keep up with the Joneses. So I got the bank to loan me money because, of course, I didn't have any, and I went out and bought a Ford Expedition. I know, not the car you'd necessarily choose. I made $600 car payments every month for almost 5 years to own a hunk of metal. Thinking about that car hurts. You know what I'm talking about. Because if it's not a car payment, it's a credit card bill, or maybe even a student loan. No matter how you spend it, you owe your income to someone else. But what if you could invest that payment for your future? You'd be able to retire with wealth and dignity. You'd leave a legacy for generations to come. Wow. Or how about this one? What if you could give that payment to a single mom who's struggling to get by? What if you could give it to your church? You see, debt is a thief. It steals your joy. It steals your freedom, and it keeps you from living the life God wants for you. And if you're ready to get out of debt, save and invest, and make giving a part of your daily life, it's time to make a change. And Financial Peace University can help. Over 5 million people have already been through this program, and they've learned God's ways of handling money. And now, you can too.
welcome back. I'm here with Maria Coppa Cook, and she is our resident expert. Is it okay if I call you that on finances?
Sure. I wouldn't say an expert, but really I have a lot of personal experiences that make me a personal expert.
Now, you've been at Arlington for how long now?
12 years.
12 years. That went by quickly. And before Arlington, you were where?
I was in East Texas, Tyler. I like to say Tyler, Texas.
Tyler? Okay.
Because a lot of people, when I say Longview or Kilgore, they're like, where is that? That's like way out there?
Yeah.
It's East Texas, so the Tyler area.
Fair enough. So you have a little bit of a Texas draw?
Oh, yes.
Okay, does that come out when you're doing specific things?
Oh, yes, like teaching Financial Peace University, it really
starts getting
comes
real.
out.
Okay,
I
real
say
twangy.
budget.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, fair enough. How did you get involved with Financial Peace University, which is a Dave Ramsey thing? Those
Correct.
seem synonymous. But
Correct.
Like, if you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey or Financial Peace University, how did you kind of first come in contact with that?
So it was very interesting. I knew nothing about Financial Peace University, and I was at work one day, and one of my coworkers, she actually saw an ad in the newspaper for a church in Mansville. It was a Sunday church. And she wasn't a member, and she said, hey, I want to take this financial class. Are you interested in going with me? Yeah. And that was in 2010. Okay. And I was like, sure. I could improve my financial disaster. Sure. I would love to. And so that's how it all began. 2010, I took the class, and, it's pretty much downhill from there.
Now, you say financial disaster, and we all kind of like, oh, okay, what does financial disaster look like for people? Because I think we always personalize it.
Yes. Financial disaster is just doing everything wrong with money. Okay. But I see a lot, and my passion comes from a lot of hurt and heartache and pain. Okay. I went through foreclosure. Okay. Pretty much lost everything except clothes and a vehicle, I would say. Okay. And so it was very hard for me even to say the word foreclosure. Okay. So I have mended that wound in my heart.
Well, it is a wound, right? And so finances are not an issue until they're an issue.
Exactly.
And so when people are coming to you, now that you're leading out in these classes, what is kind of the attitude they're coming into the class with, initially?
Well, I think it's a lot of fear.
Okay.
When I walked in the class, I was very fearful, but I was also very excited because I had the opportunity to do what God was saying with money. Okay. And I wasn't born Seventh-day Adventist. I wasn't raised in a Seventh-day Adventist family. I'm not sure if you say born. I wasn't.
Yeah, you're born into it. Yeah.
I wasn't raised into a Seventh-day Adventist family. My dad's actually a Sunday pastor. Okay. And so when I became Seventh-day Adventist in 2008, 2007, somewhere around there, I should have that memorized, but I don't.
Oh, it's okay.
When I became Seventh-day Adventist, I was all in. Okay. I wanted to know what God had to say about everything. And so when it came to money, I was like, why not money too? Okay. Like, if I'm going all out, I just dropped my BLTs and a lot of things that I left behind. And so I was willing to also go all in with money. And so it was just that passion and that drive, and losing everything, that will pick you up really, really quickly.
What do you think the biggest stumbling block is for people coming into your class initially? Like, they're like, well, my finances are kind of a mess, but I don't really want to talk about it in front of people. Like, what if people judge me? Like, what's that stumbling block that you see people having coming in?
Well, we live in a society where that is probably one of the most important, number one thing that they actually hide. Okay. And that's money. Okay. And so people come in and they just want to continue to, kind of keep it covered up. And that's okay. We don't embarrass people. We don't expose any elements of finance, and only share if you would like to. But this gives me the opportunity to tell everyone about my mistakes and my most embarrassing moments, because it does leave you vulnerable. Yeah. And so I just like to tell people, hey, we're not perfect.
Sure.
And that's okay. We come to God exactly the way we are.
Right.
So.
Man, that's beautiful. And I feel like people would respond really well to that and then start to go ahead and open up. Does that happen? Do you have couples that come in and they don't even understand their financial situation together?
I believe I've talked to Pastor Tom about this, and we were talking about surveys and just a starting point where people were with their finances. And this is going to sound weird, but people don't know what they don't know.
No, that makes sense, yeah.
oxymoron.
Sure, yeah.
So people really don't know what they don't know. If I was always brought up to live paycheck to paycheck, if my family lived paycheck to paycheck, and we never had savings, and there was never a plan for retirement, and forget about college, that's something that, you just work as you go along, and it just gets passed on. It's almost like a generational curse.
Yeah.
It just gets passed on from generation to family, and you just don't know what you don't know until you take a class and say, wow, I didn't know that I could be out of debt and having an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months and putting 15% in retirement. I was putting like 2% in retirement before this class.
Right.
I mean, that wasn't going to get me very far.
Right. How much, when people are walking out, when they're done, can you see the difference in them?
Oh, yeah, especially with the couples.
Okay.
And sometimes we started class really early, like our first class was like 8:30. So people were like, oh, like stretching into class.
Right.
And, you had these like sour faces. And then toward the end, you had couples like high-fiving and sharing their successes and smiles on their face, although it was 8:30 in the morning. You still had, you could see that change and that reformation in just 9 weeks. Because people had a plan.
That's awesome. Yeah. So September 11th is the
11th.
starting date. It's not at 8:30. It's at 10:30. No. Is it 10:30?
10:05.
10:05. Okay.
That's right.
I'm making
September
up
11th, 10:05 a.m.
10:05.
That's right.
2-hour class.
Correct.
All right. And you're going to spend some time getting to know you.
Yes.
Getting to know yourself a little bit better. Maybe getting to know if you're coming as a couple, maybe getting to know your spouse a little bit better and understanding their anxieties a little bit more.
Correct.
Man, what an amazing ministry.
It is amazing.
You are in. That's fantastic.
Because when I started the class, we weren't offering it.
Right.
So, kudos and hats off to the pastoral staff and the ministry here to allow us to offer it. But it's not only for members.
Right.
Please bring family members that's not a part of the church. Don't have membership within the church. So it's open to everyone. And it is Sabbath mornings.
Okay.
So you don't have to take time away from your work schedule.
Awesome. Maria Coppa Cook, our resident expert on finances. We have YG coming up next. Go ahead and start sending in your prayer requests to the YG Facebook page. The pastor, Pastor Allen, is continuing his I Am Second sermon series right now. And so thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, September 11, 10:05.
10:05 a.m.
There you go, a.m. That's right.
You get to sleep in.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure being with you. Have a wonderful day. We love you here at the Arlington Seventh-day Adventist Church. Have a great morning.